This week, first let's back up and talk about Abilene. After looking at the film, things you saw on that, you put up the most yards offensively on the season. Defense had a good game. Just your thoughts on it?
Yeah, hard-fought battle. And, it's just like I told our kids after the game, I didn't fault their effort at all. I thought we played with a ton of energy, ton of effort, the physicality really on both sides that we brought to the game. It was just a tough game. And give Abilene Christian credit. Those guys played well, and it was a battle all the way through. It's what I talked about going into the game. We laid out the past, really 5 years against Abilene Christians and the scores, and knew it was going to be a close contest, and just challenged our guys about straining the entire game, and that's what our guys went and did. And we, right there towards the end, we just did have, the ball bounce our way a couple times, but there's a positives to pull away from it. In all three phases with that, and just. Challenge our guys about, coming back and responding, with great effort and great detail and great discipline this week going into the Sam game.
You got Sam at home, conference opener at home. They had obviously a good game against UIW. Talk about them a little bit.
Yeah, 2-2 right now, and that they've had two first conference win right there against Incarnate Word, and then beat Oklahoma Panhandle. Had close game against North Dakota and New Mexico as well. So, really good football team. Coach have been over there for a long time. They've had success. Good players on both sides of the ball, with what they do. And obviously we know the challenge with those guys. And I know we haven't played them in a couple of years. So seeing them the first time in a few years with those guys coming in, playing here at home. So we're excited to be back in front of our home fans, in front of our students and our alumni and fan base, and we're excited being back home.
Coach, what's your level of trust with your kicker right now? He's had some kind of ups and downs, but yeah, just what's your level of comfort with him?
Yeah, 100% trusting him. What he's done as the season has went on, and I know I had a couple of misses, but going forward, and that's a guy that's going to respond and go back. And you just go down to me and kick the PAT right there late in the game, and did it with confidence, and that's definitely something that I've got 100% confidence in.
Now, going into this week, your defense has performed really well, and with you being the play caller on offense, do you feel any extra added pressure or anything, or is it just kind of, we just have to improve on offense?
Yeah, just got to go and improve and continue to get better, and that's the thing. You go back, you look at tape. There's things we're really close with, and just got to continue to get better. That's the challenge, be detailed, be disciplined, with a great attitude as we go forward, just continue to get better. And, that's what our guys, they'll do. They'll go out, be coached well, respond well, and go out and perform well.
The tight ends so far this year, I believe it's only Jacob. He's caught 2 passes. How can you get the tight ends more involved? Why haven't they, in your eyes, been as involved, I guess, in the passing game to start the season?
Yeah, those guys, they've done a good job with the things we've asked them to do in those personnel settings, and from a scheme standpoint. So, I think both of those guys have continually gotten better. As the seasons went on right here early on, and they're a huge part of what we do schematically, and just an overall attitude and thought process. On Saturdays, just making sure we go get the results we want, within whichever personnel or whichever guy's hands the balls in.
Talk about Elijah Mack, 125 yards rush, and kind of looked like a man among boys in that game. Just your thoughts on how he's been playing?
Yeah, I thought he played really well on Saturday, and guy who's just really coming into his own as far as health-wise and getting healthy, coming back off that injury, from a year ago. So really getting to see the consistency and the flash that Elijah can play up to, and what he can potentially be as a running back. So excited about what he was able to go out and produce, and those kinds of things don't happen without it being done up front. So excited about the improvement with the offensive line and just the things that we got going on up front that we've gotten better with, from a scheme standpoint, and just understanding, how that works. And, so those guys as a whole with the backs, and the O-line, Pratt went out, ran really hard for us as well. So it was good. It was good to set that tone and just be able to go produce, in the run game, the way that, going down the road that we want to be able to do.
You got another weapon with Bonnet back. Made a few catches there too. What's it like to be able to have him back?
Yeah, it's good having him back, and he obviously is a guy, with the ball in his hands. He's going to play extremely hard. Can do things with the ball in his hands. So it's good having him back on the field and having him as a viable option.
Coach, you have 4 games under your belt now. Cody Ogeron, can you talk about his growth as a quarterback, and is he where you kind of expected at this point?
Yeah, it's been continual with him. That's the thing. You just go back to week 1 and to where we sit today. It has been continual with him. It just knowing and understanding where to take the ball, knowing and understanding the scheme, and just fundamental and technique things. So the thing about him, he's coachable. He's 100% in. His attitude's great. He carries those intangible things about him, about wanting to be a really good player, and not only that, but working to be. And so those things he does on a consistent basis, as he continue to do, does right now. And, as we speak, he's in one of those rooms watching tape, and that's just the kid he is, and about improving him and giving us the best opportunity to be a really good football team.
The fact that you were able to run the ball, does that change the personality of your offense at all, or make you think about anything differently?
No, as far as personality, it's a physicality aspect that we have and like to have, and just going forward. Again, it's just part of the scheme can change week to week of what exactly we want to do, and that's something we were able to have success this week doing, and as we go forward, I feel like being able to run the ball is a critical part of having success.
Jacoby Skinner, he's been a key, one of the rotation running backs. I don't think he played or at least got any carries. I guess what happened to him on Saturday night?
He was banged up. Yeah, banged up. It could have won if we needed him to. Just it's actually good that he didn't have to go.
When it comes with Elijah, I know generally your philosophy on running backs is keep them fresh, but I think you kind of did a little more with Elijah. In the case of a running back having such a good game with the ball, will you, I guess, adjust and kind of keep one in the game more if they're having a game like that?
Yeah, we sure can, and that's we have that availability too. Just like I just mentioned, we were kind of down to just those 2 backs with Jacoby being kind of emergency, and then you had Hicks as well, and he got dinged a little bit. So you really were down to just those 2 backs. So we have that capability of doing that. Again, I thought Elijah did a good job carrying that load, and Pratt as well with the carries that he got. But I thought both of those guys ran physical. I thought both of those guys ran hard, ran the way they need to run.
The tackles, I forget who the 2 that started, but I know I saw Jamaris in the game as well with DeMarcus, like at different points. Is that an injury thing? Is that a performance thing? Like what was going on with the, I guess, having different...
Yeah, we just got 6 guys right there really to make up 5, and just, just getting those guys better, and just having the capability, to play those guys. And utilize all 6 of those guys to get 5 has, been beneficial for us. And, DeMarcus is a true freshman, who's getting better every week and is growing every week, so it's, it's beneficial that we got a couple guys that we can rotate in there to really get our 5.
I think it was 6 sacks. When you look at the sacks, watching the film, I guess, what was it? Were there any, I guess, quarterback held on to the ball, pass break, protection, breakdown? Like, what did you see?
Yeah, I think, there was a combination of, there's a couple of cover sacks and a couple of times, just got to be better up front and, make sure we're sound in a pass game and doing, exactly what we need to do, per that scheme that's being utilized on that play.
Is there any one thing you can pinpoint and say, this is what's slowing us down, or this is what we're missing, this is what we need to attack?
Just probably really think back. We had some early penalties, right there, that you would really like to just eliminate. On the first series right there, we had 2 penalties, that were critical in that, and just being consistent and being detailed. Those are our words this week. just being disciplined and being detailed as we go forward within the scheme and what those guys are supposed to be doing.
When you play at that pace and you have that expectations, do you fight a little bit of frustration if it doesn't come early?
As far as what?
As far as, okay, you do a couple of 3 and outs, you have a penalty, it doesn't click right away. Do you fight some frustration of we expect it to click right away?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you're going to it playing fast and things like that, I mean, I think naturally you'd obviously like to get off to a fast start, and click, and those are things we were doing, and those penalties halted us, from some momentum we carried right there early on the first series. Yeah, I mean, you'd like to be clean throughout, but when you go fast, I mean, you realize that those are some of the things that can happen and can prevent you, from gaining momentum.
I guess through these first 4 games, I guess what would you gauge as your level of trust with the offense as a whole to be able to do the things that you want them to do?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just about us getting better, and I mean, and the trust is there. It's about just knowing, hey, these are things that we do well. These are things we do really good. Making sure we're doing those things. Make sure we go out and execute at a high level. Make sure we're detailed in our scheme. Make sure, that we're right and where we're supposed to be, and then going out and executing the play at a high level.
Linebackers, 2 new guys, Paul and Carlos. Carlos back-to-back, 10-plus tackles. What makes him so good at finding the ball and everything?
Yeah, he's got a high motor. He's got length to him. He just like when we signed him and brought him here, I mean, he was a playmaker, guy that makes plays, great attitude kid. And those are things that he's doing. And, I mean, he's showing up and he's playing well. He's around the ball, physical, and then shows up and shows up in a hurry. So those are things that, he's put on tape before about being productive and being able to do those things. We're excited. Carlos is obviously here, and that we're getting those results from him.
With Sam, they, put up a lot of points against Incarnate Word last week. Do you feel like, I know obviously you want your defense to perform well, but if the game ends up being, a shootout or something, do you feel confident that you guys couldn't go back and forth with them?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Every time we go into the game, you don't know how the game's going to work out, and no different this week. With those guys, and just working and doing whatever it takes to go win and have one more than they do.
Yes. All right, Coach.